What up? It's the Athletic Hockey Show, Wednesday edition, where the true frozen frenzy was the friends we made along the way. Sean Gentili here with Frankie Corrado and Sean McIndoe. All three of us watched all 16 games last night, right, boys?
100%,
all of it.
Man.
Absolutely.
All over it.
I had my full and undivided attention.
I actually went to Walmart, old school AHL style. I got 16 different screens, set them up in my living room, and I'm planning on returning 15 of them today.
Yep.
Well before the 90 days is up. Because that's how you own a TV in the American Hockey League, right?
No.
You buy a TV. Yeah, you
Wow.
buy a TV, you go in your calendar, you have to buy it from Walmart, and you go 88 days just to give yourself a little bit of a cushion. You set an alarm and you say, return TV today. You return that TV, you go to the electronics section, you buy another TV, you bring that bad boy home, set it for another, whatever, how many days are left in the season, and you rented a TV for free all year in the American Hockey League.
And Frankie, how many times did you do that over the course of your career?
The best one was the first year where I had a roommate where it was so efficient because one guy went to returns, one guy went to electronics, and it just timed that we were walking right back out of the store perfectly. It was great.
Just high five on the way out the door, and just a sad greeter who sees it all play out and can't do anything to stop
Don't
it.
hate the play, I hate the game, baby.
Ethel, the 81-year-old greeter wearing the smiley face sticker on her vest.
Go on.
Hello.
Can I see your receipt, sir? You absolutely can.
You
I'll see
certainly
you in 88
can.
days.
see you in March, ma'am. This is why we have a former player in the mix, man. We don't do this. We don't do this for the insight on, defensive play or anything like that. We want the low down and dirty on low grade retail scams that you were running in Abbotsford or wherever this was taking
Upstate
place.
New York has never been the same,
Utica!
man. Forget about the five families in New York.
Yeah.
That holds nothing to the TV scam that's being run in the American Hockey League and the East Coast Hockey League.
People with last names ending in vowels running retail scams in the state of New York. That's interesting. Interesting.
Weird that would be happening. Yeah, weird that. Let me ask you something. Since DGB and I are in Canada, you're in the States. Is there I know they branded it Frozen Frenzy.
Yeah.
I have the center ice package, so I'm naturally flipping through games all the time. And I had to work a game last night. I was on the panel for the 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time Habs Kraken game. But is there a red zone, an NFL red zone for this Frozen Frenzy, where they're kind of flipping back and forth? There's a power play in the Avalanche game. Let's cut here and see what Nathan McKinnon's doing. Do they do that?
No. They don't, Frank, and I think that leads us directly into our issue here with this, doesn't it? This is a multi-tiered missed opportunity by the league, right? There's so many other things. That's all I could think while I was watching these games last night is how it could be better, at least in the States. If there was some kind of power play for red zones on certain night, which we've seen them edge around, but not quite. If it were marketed a little bit more differently, which is an issue I think that some teams certainly seem to have. If it took place on a night, and I know this is an issue for you guys, if it took place on a night where there was no World Series game, maybe bump this into November. There's a zillion different ways that you could improve this and make it feel like something rather than just reading NHL marketing materials saying that it's something and turn it into the kind of, single day sports cultural event that they try to convince us that it is, right?
Let me ask this. So we're three guys who are hockey fans and do this for a living. When did you realize that it was Frozen Frenzy time? Because for me, it was Monday morning, the day before, when I sat down to do the newsletter, and I had to do the here's tonight's games, and I was like, oh, that's a lot of games. Oh, right, they're doing this thing. So it was about 36 hours beforehand. Were you guys over or under 36 hours?
I'm over 36 hours. I knew because I had maybe I'm the wrong guy to ask, because when my schedule comes out, I'm like, oh man, I have a 10:30 start in studio for a Seattle game. That's a tough bounce. And then you realize, you look at the schedule, you're like, oh, there's an 11, there's a 6 o'clock. It's the frozen frenzy. Here's where, my whole view on this thing. I'll never fault the league for trying to do something different and market things. So, okay, that's fine. But it almost has the feel as if all the games happen to be on the same night because of arena availability and teams travel. And we just said, let's slap something on this and call it something. And then, we'll market it. But the issue is not everyone has capacity to watch all these games. And furthermore, not everyone wants to watch all these games. If you're an Ottawa Senators fan, you're probably just watching your Sens game. You don't care about what's going on in the Avalanche or the Columbus game. Like, there's no reason for you to be flipping through your ESPN app or whatever app you use to watch these games and watch 4 minutes here, 4 minutes here. Oh, commercial break. I'm going to go to the other game, because that's every night on the center ice package anyways. If your game goes to commercial, you can flip somewhere else. So doesn't feel different. The thing that would make this feel different is if there was someone quarterbacking it, and to Gentili's point, it's like, hey, there's a power play in the Hurricanes Vegas game. Let's go see what Jack Eichel is up to and cut to that game. And if, like the Philadelphia Pittsburgh game, that was crazy. Like, there's fireworks in that game. You have to go and catch up with that and see what's going on. That's what would make it a frenzy, like a dedicated stream where it's someone's in the studio and they're throwing the ball to all these different games as notable things are happening. That's where the opportunity is, not, relying on people to cut away from their team's game to just say, oh, I watched, parts of 12 different games last night. It's just, we need
Scott Hansen. Like, look, Red Zone, NFL Red Zone is my favorite television show ever in my life. I think it is the greatest, most unimpeachable creation of sports media ever. So if we could get something 20% of that, and I get that hockey's different. It's not as, football lends itself better, but here's the secret of Red Zone, okay? People hear the concept and they think, oh, they just go to whatever game, people are close to scoring, and they do. But they also spend a lot of time showing you stuff that just happened. Mm-hmm. So a big play happens in the Steelers game, and here's the thing. They don't come in and go, oh, a big play, DK Metcalf just scored a touchdown in Pittsburgh. Let's show it to you. They just cut in. And you're watching this game going, okay, why am I on this game? Is something about to happen? Is this just the game they picked? And then a big play breaks out and you go, wow, that was great. And then they cut to something else and you never know, like, is something about to happen? You could do that in the NHL, right? Like, you could, okay, Sidney Crosby just scored. Go back 45 seconds before and just drop him into Pittsburgh. And you just be sitting there watching hockey all night with something always happening. I really think it could work. But
it doesn't need to be structured around the power play either.
It doesn't. Everybody says power play because that's the Red Zone equivalent. And certainly you can. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, the Oilers are going on the power play. Let's just watch these guys fling the puck around for a while.
That's what Red Zone turns into at some points, because it's like, all right, there's nothing going on in this other game except for the fact that that the Vikings are inside the 20. So we'll go look at that. But that doesn't mean that they're just going to default to that every single time. I don't even like Red Zone that much. That's the thing. Like, I'm not like I'm not a Red Zone.
Look at him. He's getting all worked up.
I'm not a Red Zone.
This is twice in 2 weeks, man. Don't do this.
Why was this not the primary ESPN broadcast last night? That's my question. Like, some version of what we're talking about here. Why was that not what we were watching on ESPN? That's what turns it into something that grabs the casual fan. Because the NHL is such a locally based product still. And Frankie, you said this. Like, Sens fans are watching the Sens game last night. But if you market it as like, here's a different product, not just a day in the schedule that has a different name. Like, how is this any different than hockey night or the like hockey day in the United States or whatever BS they do like on the week? It's not. It's a marketing opportunity.
The staggered starts is what makes it different. But
Who cares? The fact that the fact that a game starts at 6 o'clock, like who cares? It doesn't matter. They're so focused on the staggered start portions of it when that's something that doesn't matter to anybody, and less on the fact that all 32 teams are playing. Like that's the gimmick. Not that there's a game that starts at 6:15 and then one at 6:30 and it goes on throughout the night. Who cares? That's basically what a normal Thursday night is like on the NHL schedule. And I know because I have to sit there and watch that schlock every week in October and November, for power ranking stuff. I know I'm flipping around between 14 games throughout the course of the night. That's not any different. It's a failed opportunity.
And you know what happens when you flip around through 14 games like that? You'll catch a guy on one shift and be like, oh, so-and-so, he's not playing well. You just saw one shift. How do you actually know? And to your point...
That's the trick. That's absolutely the trick, too. And that's the trap that a lot of people fall into who do the kind of stuff that we do, is they watch, Andrei Svechnikov on a power play yesterday and think that he's fixed or whatever because he scored. That's like not necessarily true, right? And we'll talk about that at some point down the line.
It's tough to get a read because, to your point, the 6 o'clock game, who cares? Because the 7 o'clock game on a regular night, Eastern time, right, just bleeds into the 8 o'clock game. You don't do anything, specific to like say, I got to watch the 8 o'clock game. Then there's the Mountain Time games at 9. Well, your 7 o'clock game is still going. And if that's your team, well, you're still watching it. And then by 10 o'clock, you've watched 3 hours of hockey. You might watch a period. You might not. And furthermore, the Pacific Coast teams, like if you're in Vancouver, you didn't really care to tune in at 3 p.m. and watch Calgary versus Toronto. You're just watching your Canucks, and you're watching Thatcher Demko stand on his head as JT Miller returns to Vancouver. Like that's it, and that's all you care about. And I think you're right. It is very local. The opportunity with the Frozen Frenzy is to make a dedicated studio show that doesn't have to be power play based, but it goes to the different games at the right times, and that's what makes it a frenzy. It feels frantic, and the red zone effect is you've sat there for whatever it is, 7 hours, you've watched all this football, you've neglected your family, your wife, your kids, and you're in one, and you have to find your way out of it. That is the red zone effect, and it happens to millions of men across North America every week.
Glorious. It's amazing. But Sean, you said it. It's the casual fan that they should be grabbing with this, trying to, right? It's this idea of, hey, maybe you're not a diehard hockey fan, because if you're a diehard hockey fan, you're sitting and watching your team tonight. Give us 3 hours or 4 or 5, or maybe it's more, we'll be here all night. Drop in whenever you want.
That's it.
We'll feed you. Don't worry, little baby birds. We're gonna feed you as the night goes on, but you're gonna love it. And maybe that will be the thing that sparks in you, like, man, I should give hockey a chance. Or I used to love this sport. I kind of fell out of it when everyone stopped scoring for 20 years. But maybe I'll give it another shot. That is what that's what the goal should be, you would think. But then you don't go up against the World Series, which is the other piece of this. And look, I'll offer the NHL a little bit of a defense here in the sense that having this go on, having any sort of event go on while a Canadian team is in the World Series is a disaster. Nobody thought that was going to be the case when they're drawing up the schedule. I don't think anybody was like, oh boy, what if the Blue Jays are playing the Dodgers in the World Series? That's bad luck for the league. But also, I mean, why was it on a Tuesday night, not on a Monday night? Well, because they wouldn't want to go head to head with the NFL.
It's not bad. It's not bad luck. Why? It's not bad luck. It's bad decision making. Like, I'm sorry. Like the fact
November,
that
do it sometime when you can have the floor to yourself and you get to be the star of the show. And
and you push it a little bit further. We have to preface all this stuff by saying making schedules is difficult, and the fact that that they get something that makes sense together every year is like half a miracle. It is true to some extent, but push it further in the schedule. Have it in November when people aren't thinking about baseball, when maybe college football is less of a thing in the States. get it further into the schedule so it can be this restart moment, this welcome to the season moment for the casual fan, to the extent that it exists for the NHL. Have a moment where they can sit down and be like, this is when everything starts, and you can use the studio show as an opportunity to school people on things that have happened on the schedule up until this point, right?
Yes.
If you're on ESPN and if it's John Boucher with Greg Wish or whoever it is, it doesn't matter. It's TJ Oshie and Kevin Weeks and Steve, whatever. Pick your poison of combinations there. Whenever stuff that happens last night, like we saw in the Flyers-Penguins game, Justin Brazeau scored, and this is the game I was watching, so this is the example. So forgive me for this. Justin Brazeau scores last night. Justin Brazeau has very randomly been a major part of the start for one of the most surprising teams in the league, the Penguins, a marquee franchise with a legend of the sport who were supposed to suck out loud from the jump this season to the point where we're talking about them being a bottom 3, bottom 5 roster. Fans are talking about Gavin McKenna, yada, yada, yada. We know that that's not what's happened. Like it's a compelling story. Justin Brazeau, big example for why that's happened. Justin Brazeau scores last night. You know, you can run that back, have the Brazeau package from that game, and then say, like, look, this guy is a big reason that the Penguins have been as much of a shock as they've been. And you hit that throughout these games and have it be the gateway into hockey season for the casual fan, right? And as it stands, it's just like it's a scheduling quirk and not anything else. It's got a funny name and there's no substance behind it.
I'll also look at it from the player's point of view. Like, the players don't care about TV broadcast schedules and all these things. Like, and I could hear the criticism. Well, the TV revenue is what drives the salaries, and that's why guys make so much. Totally understand that. And guys are very willing to fulfill their obligations. But, you know, you start saying that, yeah, you're going to play a 6 o'clock game, so now your day's screwed up. Or you're going to play an 8 o'clock local start because we have to have the staggered time. And guys start to shake their head. They're like, why do we got to get inconvenienced just because you got to stagger starts and we're your show pony for it? Let's just play 7 o'clock. Like we know what a 7 o'clock game looks like. And yeah, there's weekend games that are at 12 and at 1 and at 3, and everyone accounts for those types of things. The weird one though for players is when like a 12 o'clock start, a 1 o'clock start, a 3 o'clock start, you know how to adapt and pivot to that. It's fine. Like you just do a different morning routine. The 6 o'clock start is weird because now your nap isn't as long. It messes with your morning skate timing. Like when you come back to the rink, like that's the weird one for guys where it's not enough to completely change your day, but it's enough to just mess with you a little bit.
Yeah, Frankie's at Walmart stealing an alarm clock now to help him.
Yeah,
help him get that going.
Exactly. Casio.
You know what I would do it? Let me throw this at
it fell off a truck. He didn't steal anything.
Let me throw this at you. What about doing it this year, at least, the day you come back from the Olympics? The first time, because everyone's got to play, right? I mean, so you don't have to worry about, the night before, because that's another part of this, right? There was almost nothing on Monday, and there's one lousy game tonight. And we always see this, right? When the Olympics or Four Nations is here, it gets the casual fans. They get hooked. And then we all go, wow, hockey's big now. And then nobody watches when it comes back because the first game back is, Winnipeg against Columbus, and who cares? So do it then and be like, all right, you loved the Olympics. Let's get you back in. Give us one night to get you back into the NHL. And I don't know.
I'm just getting a call. Gary Bettman? Oh, hey, no, DGB. He'll be on with you after we're done the pod. He's got it. Yep. Yeah, no. Gary heard your idea. Mm-hmm. He loves it. He's all over it.
Tell him to text me. He knows. He's got the number. He knows.
He knows where to find you.
But Gary's problem is, according to Pierre, his owners don't like this idea either. This is where the rage in me that wants to crap all over the league goes. Wait a second. Hold on. If the owners are crying about this because it doesn't fit, it's hard to sell tickets and all that. This is where I start to go, you know what? I hope they do it every week if these guys are going to be about this.
That speaks to something Frankie said too, though. Honestly, like where players are like, "What is the point of this? Like, what TV revenue? Like, you guys understand that on some level,
Yeah.
right?
It
doesn't do anything for TV revenue.
Okay.
It doesn't help. There's
doesn't.
no.
It's all cooked in. The deals are already done. They're all cooked in. Everyone's going to play their allotted and obligated games. And the other thing about being a player, right? Like Hockey Night in Canada is such a big deal, right? Like the Leaf game is usually the marquee game. There's the late game, but for any player that's playing a game on like a Saturday night, in their head, their game's the biggest game. If you're Detroit versus St. Louis, that's the biggest game in the NHL. Why? Because we're playing it and there's 20,000 people watching us. You know what I mean? So like, you're not just like the owners who don't necessarily care what's happening in the other markets with this game. They just want to market their game, sell the tickets the best way they possibly can, just like the players don't want to be messed with and just want to play the 7:00 game and have their normal routine.
And if you're a Carolina Hurricanes fan last night or whatever, you're like, wait, my game started at 6:30. Like I missed the first period because I was making dinner for my kids. Like, well, there's no like.
It's your mistake right there. Are you dedicated? Are you on board or not?
I kind of believe that you feel that way.
So can we read the Pierre quote?
Yeah.
Right. This is Pierre LeBrun himself. He says, "I would imagine most hockey fans loved Frozen Frenzy last night. Not sure how they couldn't." Well, Pierre, listen to the podcast and we'll get you caught up.
Yeah.
But I did get some grumbling from some NHL team execs, some not happy with start times and how it's a tough sell in their market, etc. That's the most NHL quote ever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the fans probably loved it, but, and then here's why we don't want to do it, because it's hard for me personally.
It comes back to my point. Did the fans love it?
I don't think
so. The fans just watched their team's game like they would on any other night. It was no difference for them.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing I always say on Thursday. And me and Shayna Goldman have had this conversation before, because she's like the queen of stagger the starts by 5 minutes.
When you said
so
nobody
not every
cares
game.
about staggered starts, I was like, I know one person who does.
That's a media thing. Fans want their games to start when they know they always start. They don't want to have random 7:25 starts when their stuff usually starts at 7. They don't want it.
The Ottawa Senators and the Chicago Blackhawks started at 7:54 Central Time. What is that?
What is that?
Like, how does a casual fan is going to realize that? Like, what if you just wanted to pick up tickets? You're like, I'm going to go catch the Hawks game tonight. You're parked outside the United Center. Like, sir, the game starts in 2 hours. What the hell do you do outside the United Center for 2 hours?
Nothing good. Should go vandalize the Bobby Hull statue.
That's it.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But you're right. Like that's one of those goofy start times. And the players, they don't love that. I don't know.
I think we've stumbled on an actual solution here, honestly, over the last 22 minutes or however long it's been of us whining about this to varying degrees. I think it's a combination of all these things that we've discussed, where you push it a little bit further into the season, you blow it out from a marketing standpoint, you create a dedicated feed on ESPN or pick the TV partner of your choice, and you have it after the Olympics. There is no reason not to do that. Every team could play on the first day coming out of the break. It could be the welcome back moment for the casual fans. Like my mother during the TJ Oshie shootout game against US. Like my mom couldn't care less about this. And he was like, "Oh, who's TJ Oshie?" She sees shots of his kids and his wife and his family and knows that he scored a big goal and thinks like, "Oh, that seems like a nice young man." Come back from the Olympics, there's going to be some version of TJ Oshie on one team or another, and have that be the welcome point, right? And it's just they're not going to do it.
You're not joking though. Like that's how you get different demographics of fans. Like just a non-hockey example. We're watching the Jays go to the World Series, me and my wife, and she's like, she didn't care about the game. And then afterwards, once they're doing the interviews and she sees the wives and the little kids,
yep.
I go to change it. She's like, no, leave this. This is what I want to watch. Like, I want to know their stories.
Mhm.
right? Like storytelling is always at the crux of it. Any way you can find a way to mix that in, that's what compels people, and that's what gets people attached. It's not just guys in a jersey executing forechecks.
I thought it was funny names. I thought that's what got people.
Funny
Hmm?
names.
Alliterative names for some made up thing that
Yeah.
nobody seems to like in the first place. Take a break. All right, we're back. Everybody calm.
Yeah.
Everybody fine. Everybody recenter themselves.
We're okay.
After that.
Did a little breath work, so I'm feeling all right. I got a crazy stat for you guys. I don't know if you want to hear it.
Yeah,
I don't know
let's
if you
go.
saw this making the rounds on Twitter yesterday, but Tom Willander, first round pick of the Vancouver Canucks in 2023, right-handed defenseman, made his NHL debut last night. He is the first right-handed defenseman to be drafted by the Canucks and make his NHL debut with the organization since
Sean
blank.
Sean McIndoe, guess please.
This one I can go obscure, but I can't go Canucks defenseman level of obscure because
Are you kidding me?
You can't go drafted Canucks right-hand defenseman level of obscurity.
yeah, no, not a lot.
too-
I mean,
too
it
obscure.
doesn't
Well,
go back to the 50s, so and that's
Let
my
me take you
wheelhouse.
guys back to the year 2011 when your boy was drafted and made his debut in 2013. That's the last time a right-handed defenseman who was drafted by the Canucks made his debut with the organization. It was me. Do you know how sad that is? And before that, it was Bieksa.
I thought that was maybe the worst. That was worse than the fact that you were the last one. Was that there was that much between Bieksa and you?
Bieksa in 01 drafted, me in 2011 drafted, debut, and this kid in 2023. That was scary. That is very scary stuff. I don't know.
How are you guys
if it's like that.
How are you guys any good in that stretch where you only had you and BX as drafted right shot? Like how do you sustain a half decent team with that?
Who was the saving grace for all that was the Dan Hamhuis trade, Chris Tanev free agent signing, like left-handed shot, Alex Edler, like those were the real guys. I was just there. But that's a crazy stat. So Tom Willander played. Good for him. Congratulations.
So do you have like a big sign at your house like days since the Canucks and you had to like go and reset it down to 0? Was that
Yeah. It's it was. I was holding on to it very dearly.
Did you know that before you saw the stat? Like had you ever heard that tidbit before, or was this something where you just like you lost the record the same day you found out you had it?
I found out yesterday, and I tweeted out at Grady. I'm like, that can't be a real stat. And someone actually asked Grok or whatever the Twitter AI.
I think it's pronounced Grook.
Yeah.
Grook. Well, there we go. 0 for 3. Someone asked Grook, and Grook confirmed it, so it has to be real.
Grunk was like, actually, it was Gary Carter was the last one. And,
Frankie, did someone at you with that?
Yeah,
because I got like someone pointed it out and told me to bother you about it. So I unfortunately got Frankie's trivia bit spoiled for this week.
Yeah, man. No, someone pointed it out. So anyways, congratulations to him. Kind of weird. Just we'll touch on it really quickly. Vancouver in the morning, they were doing like red line, blue line sprints after their morning skate. And then they came out that night and they had no juice. I wonder why. But the guy that did have juice was Thatcher Demko. And he played great last night. Like Vancouver couldn't score. We know scoring's been an issue for the Rangers, but Thatcher Demko was really, really good. And like that guy continues to kind of prove to people that he's good. Like he's healthy, he's able.
He's
healthy. Man, that is significant for sure.
I also loved what Drance wrote after the game. It was JT Miller centric, but specified that at the end of the game, obviously the Rangers are pretty well in control there. He had a chance to ice it with an empty netter, passed up on that. Had a chance to line up Elias Pettersson and hit him. Did not do that. I thought that's kind of an interesting subplot throughout that game. Is the JT Miller of it all, because that's still man, that's going to be compelling, I think, for as long as he's in the league and for as long as the Canucks are kind of in the overall state that they're in. I think that's going to be a compelling narrative. Is that you got JT Miller in New York and then Elias Pettersson and company in Vancouver, kind of running on parallel tracks. Two very, very, very mediocre teams, really, since the trade. It's interesting.
New York coming off a performance where they were no good against Calgary, right? Like that was just nowhere close to good enough. It just felt like there's bigger things at play for them, right? Like I think the Rangers realize we don't have time for subplots and revenge. We got to take care of our own backyard and we got to win games here, because it's been, it hasn't exactly been a banner start for the Rangers, put it that way.
Mm-hmm. Are we worried at all about what it says about the Canucks that they were that flat for that game? Like, is there, I'm not even saying Miller specifically, but is there not a part of you that knows the history there and knows that, why people are watching this game and going like, all right, Pettersson's our guy, man. Let's make sure we have a good showing tonight and kind of show that this is our, and instead it's not that.
Well, what makes it always better? When Quinn Hughes plays. Like when Quinn Hughes plays, it's like, hey, we got the puck. We're forechecking. We're doing stuff. When he doesn't play, it's flat, and we don't have the same kind of the same kind of juice with the puck and getting the puck back like that. He makes such a difference. He's such a he changes the course of the game so often. So yeah, you're right though. You're definitely right about it, but it didn't feel like it was that intense for them. They just didn't have the puck as much either.
I think one of the other big takeaways from last night, the Frozen Frenzy slate, again, everyone loves it. Everyone's really into it, was from that 7:55 local start in Chicago, right? Connor Bedard, first hat trick of his career, which is kind of wild. 12 points in 10 games. It's early, blah, blah. We preface everything with silly stuff like that, even though we're almost a month into the season. There are things that have happened with him over the last couple weeks, though, where it feels like maybe something's getting unlocked here. I think he was kind of prickly, kind of bristly after that game against the Kings last week, where he says our power play is terrible, makes fun of the Kings for playing boring, which I think is
that was a compliment at the time.
Accurate and kind of complimentary, but I also kind of appreciate that he said it. I think those are the kind of things, though, that you're looking for from Connor Bedard is yes, games like last night, but also something a little bit more intangible, something a little bit more experiential, when you're like, all right, this guy's starting to feel like something else is taking place there.
Do you feel like he's maybe getting a little sick of Macklin Celebrini?
That's right.
Over the last couple of weeks, and now he's the new face and he's the guy, and get out of here, Connor, and all of this stuff. You think maybe he heard a bit of that?
I 100% agree. And okay, think about this, right? So he doesn't go to the men's worlds. Celebrini goes. All anyone can talk about is Celebrini's rubbing shoulders with Crosby. They're working on face-offs. They're best friends. They're attached at the hip. What's Connor Bedard doing that entire time? By his word, he's getting ready for this season, right? Like, he didn't want to go to the men's worlds because he knew he had work to do, and he wanted to use that time in order to call it, like, get a little more acceleration, a little more foot speed, and refine some of his skills and see if it can translate this year. And the one goal he scores last night, where he carries the mail end to end, slices and dices through the neutral zone, and has that twisted wrist shot where he pulls it right in close to his body and still has enough leverage on his stick to snap it past Allmark. That's why he needed that extra time. And that's like the embodiment of what he was working on. He wasn't saying, I just need the rest and I'm going to go refresh and I'll take a trip to Cabo and I'll put my feet up and then I'll do my old 16-week, routine. This guy was in the lab grinding, man. Like the old Kobe, grinding in the gym. You wasn't with me grinding in the gym. Like, that's what Bedard was essentially doing.
Bedard was grinding while Celebrini was just jet setting around, taking photos and all of this.
No, it's not.
We're gonna make this
it's
happen.
Not,
We're gonna.
Where
make
was
it's not a
where
thing
was
on
Worlds?
Celebrini.
Where
It's
was
not a thing-
Worlds? Where
Yeah, it's Bedard. Like Bedard used his time correctly, man, and now he's faster. He's carrying the puck more. He's got another element to his shot, which was already good to begin with. But give the guy a lot of credit, man. He kind of called his shot and said, "I need to do this," and now we're seeing the results.
And he hates Macklin Celebrini.
despises him.
We're going to make this happen. These two guys hate each other. It's a Magic and Bird thing for the new era. And
Celebrini was hanging out in Sweden and Denmark during the summer last season.
having fika,
nice
every day.
vacation. Yeah.
Weird pickled fish and
Working on his Instagram like the kids these days. Cared more about that. And Connor Bedard was just in a he was down in a windowless room, just bench pressing. And
Does Bedard and his start make you think about the Olympics a little bit?
Mm-hmm. I think it has to.
Right? Like there's some guys like, I don't know. Sam Bennett hasn't gotten off to a great start in Florida.
No, he's not.
There's maybe guys
Brandon
that we
Hagel's
thought
a
were
little
locks.
slow. Like there could be some openings, and
There could be movement, man.
I
You just don't
felt-
want to be in a situation where you're one goal short and you don't have it.
is it given what we know about the Olympics and what we know about coaches and executives, is it possible that there's room for Bedard and Celebrini on Team Canada?
I think that's the question. It felt a couple months ago like it was an either or proposition, right? Now I don't know if it is anymore because Celebrini too. He started a little at least a little bit slow, but then he, caught fire over the last little bit. Has that incredible game against the Rangers where he has 5 points. Also, just makes us sick. He wins a puck battle to set up Will Smith for the game winner in that one, right? Like this is just like the full package, Macklin Celebrini. So as Bedard has seemed like he's found something, Celebrini is kind of moving in lockstep, and it feels like it's not an either or thing for them anymore.
Well,
whereas in the summer, I kind of would have, not knowing anything, I would have kind of.
But I mean, if you
was.
bring both guys, then at least one of them's got to be getting regular ice time. Like you can hide one forward, but and do you trust that, or would you rather have the 33-year-old slow plodding guy who's not going to make mistakes? And the other thing is, can you bring both of them given that they hate each other?
Well, that'll be your next newsletter. Why do these guys hate each other?
Yeah. Can we bring it back? Or Frank, I don't know when the next time the Sharks and Hawks play, but I think they just got to go off the opening face-off. Get it
right
settled
there.
off.
That's the frenzy. The issue is not that both those guys don't deserve to be on the team based on the way they've played. It's who comes off the team. And other guys like, I don't know. Can you have Bedard, Celebrini, Suzuki, Robert Thomas, Tom Wilson? It's like is that 5 guys that weren't on the team last year?
Mm-hmm.
Those are all guys that are in the mix.
Robert
this
Thomas
year.
is in that roster?
Yeah, St. Louis, another loss again last night. Like they're working through some stuff like in a big way. So yeah, anyways, there's a handful of guys that would deserve to make this team
on a
but
team
who are
that,
you
that
leapfrogging?
won gold at Four Nations or won the championship. It's not like this was a disappointing team where you go, we got to mix it up a little bit. And we know hockey executives and coaches and everyone, decision makers, love to stick with what is working. So how much churn is there even going to be?
Something to watch too. Connor Bedard's head coach Jeff Blashill, very very tight with John Cooper. They're close friends. They coach together for a while. That's an interesting wrinkle, kind of mixed in there. Yeah. Jeff Blashill, American. Could he be? Maybe he'll lie.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll lie to John Cooper and say like, yeah, this
he stinks.
He's a little lackadaisical in the neutral zone, right? Like you should probably leave him at home. Gotta ask the question.
You know who I'm a fan of? American coach.
Who?
Dan Muse.
Okay.
I'm a fan of Dan Muse.
I think he knows what he's doing. Have you dealt with him at all, Frank?
Well, just a little bit because he coached Lane Hudson at the program. So before one of the games, when he was with the Rangers, we just got some info from him, talked to him. But man, smart hockey guy. He's doing well with Pittsburgh. And that was a crazy game last night, man. Like, how do you even start to break down what happened? Because if there were like the Frozen Frenzy, that should have been the game that was like front and center with all kinds of crazy stuff going on. Crosby can't even take the shootout because he gets kicked out. He gets a misconduct. There's a bunch of goals called back. That was nuts, man. That was crazy stuff.
I think my favorite part of it was Trevor Zegras going after Noel Acciari when he was down on the ice after that scrum.
Yeah.
Like Zegras came in late. He got a couple pops like to the back of the head. Acciari was like otherwise engaged on the ice with someone after that scrum. And I'm happy for Trevor Zegras that Noel Acciari didn't get what he was looking for after he got back off the ice. There was some anger there because it was cheap little kid shot, little kid stuff from Zegras, and Acciari didn't appreciate it.
You know what that was? That was the guy who has the loud bark at recess and always goes, "Hold me back!" Like he throws a jab and he's like, "Hold me back! They won't let me go. They won't let me. They know. Once I." Here's what I wonder. You know, the I don't know if like are the Penguins going to fool themselves now?
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to think that, hey, we did it. The band is still here. We're a good team. There's going to be some kind of market correction on the Pens. Like they might not. They're not going to be a 700. You don't think
they're going to be a 727 point percentage team for the rest of the season?
But they could be. They could be based on the start that they've had and how much they've banked already, and they're getting good goaltending. They could be a 555 team. 565 team
division,
and
might
in
stink.
That case,
like if Columbus if Columbus takes a step back and the Rangers stay in the mud, that division's not any good.
And if that happens, do they fool themselves and say, well, we're going to trade someone for the here and now, so we can kind of make the playoffs? There's no way. There's no way they can do that. If anything, you got to look at the start that Malkin has had on that expiring contract and make a really tough decision. Because that's what's going to set you up now for your future.
Is there no way when if you're Kyle Dubas and when Sidney Crosby comes in and says, "Okay, you said you were going to sit back and evaluate. You said you wanted to see. We all knew what you meant. You were waiting for us to face plant so you could trade Rust and Raquel and guys like that. We delivered. We gave you a contender. Now you hold up your end of the bargain and you help us out in what might be my final shot at doing something here in Pittsburgh. Get out there and get us some reinforcements."
I think Rickard Rakell's injury is very fortuitously timed for Kyle Dubas in that regard because he's going to be out for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, right? You let those guys play it out. You see what happens. 8 weeks from now we're going to be at Christmas. Rickard Rakell comes back. If they're still in the mix, if we're still talking about them as, some kind of factor in the playoff race, you say, great, here's your guy. You got Rickard Rakell back. Go win some games. There is your trade deadline reinforcement. I don't see any way that Kyle Dubas sells anything of importance down the stretch. I don't think he will. It would take a sea change, if anything, to motivate him there.
If anything, this is great for the Pens and Dubas because now, not that people thought Malkin's game was like falling off a cliff or anything, but if you're watching a player like turn back the clock a little while ago, and if there's a contender that needs a center iceman, which is probably a lot of contenders actually, because everyone needs a center iceman, the value for Malkin is more than it was, even a couple years ago. So you can cash in on something like that if you wanted to do that. They got some good young pieces, like the two goalies now. The kid that's playing in the minors, Murashov, he's playing great. Like all reports are great on him. Shilov's has been good. Like Brunick and Kindle, it's a chance these guys are staying all season. Who knows? But I mean,
he won that game last night for them. Like that was a whole lot of him. I think they're going to lose 10-14 here in a second anyway, so it really doesn't matter. We can get this conversation in while we can.
Well, when they do that, they'll come back to reality a little bit, but they're well positioned now to sell a piece that'll help them in the future than they were prior to them playing this well. Because the guys that they need to move are the guys that are moving the needle for the team.
We also got our first batch of Pronman rankings post, like from the start of the college or whatever the college and junior seasons that dropped today. So if you're a Pittsburgh Penguins fan who's listening to this, or some other theoretical bottom feeder who wants to see what's going on with Gavin McKenna and whoever else, the Pronman rankings are helpful because it's probably time to learn about the 2, 3, 4, 5 players in this draft. Which I think is helpful. But yeah, I'm still, the Penguins are a good watch. I think people around here are certainly enjoying that. But and Dan Muse absolutely knows what he's doing, and I think there's some interesting pieces on that team. But yeah, I'm gonna go on a limb and say that 7/27 hockey isn't happening all that much longer here. We'll see.
No. All right, boys.
Frankie, what's up with you for the rest of the week? Do you have any other late night games or what?
We got a little late night stuff. Sports Center for the rest of the week. Dan-a-net. And then Halloween. Halloween with the kids. They're both going to be dressed up as baby cows. Why?
That's really
because
cute.
the costume was $20 each, and there's 2 of them. So that means the costume was $40.
Did you keep the
You're
Did you
taking
keep the
it back,
receipt,
man? Like, just it's fine.
That's where I draw the line, okay? Electronics, no problem. Baby cow costumes, not sending that back.
They don't got Walmarts out there anyways. It's fine.
See you, boys.
Enjoy the rest of your week, bud. We'll talk to you soon. Me and McIndoe are back with what we learn next. All right, there goes Frankie off to a Walmart in Vaughan, Ontario, or wherever to go sell back some stuff that he fraudulently bought.
Some stuff that he found is going to be... Don't get on Facebook Marketplace with Frankie. That's potentially the advice.
He's aware of the return policies for various retailers, let's say. Yeah. Can I get store credit on this, Frankie asks.
Yeah, it went on sale after I got it. How does that factor in? Can we work this out, please?
Sean, we learned something while we were recording that first segment.
We did. Yeah, that's always fun.
What have we learned, Sean?
Logan Cooley is a $10 million player. Incredible. Shout out to the West Mifflin, PA legend himself, Logan Cooley, one of the best young centers in the game. Signs for 8 years, $10 million per with the Utah Mammoth. That's a big one. Third highest contract coming out of entry level in NHL history, according to our guys CJ and Pierre, which is wild. Dom characterized it on Twitter as a deal that looks large on paper, but the odds that it ends up being team friendly are pretty good. I think that's the way I feel about it too. Like there is some amount of sticker shock, and I think that's my big takeaway here.
Okay, that or the Thomas Harley deal, which were you most surprised?
I think
by?
those
He got 8 times 10 in a bit.
I think those kind of work in tandem. And I think it's something we need to remember moving forward. And I know we've said this in some capacity before, Sean. Like, we got to recalibrate. We have to change our internal valuations on how much players are worth, how much good players make, what constitutes a good deal versus a great deal versus a poor deal. The number's going up. That's just the way it goes. So the fact that Logan Cooley, as truly one of the 5 best, let's say, young centers in the league, or 5 most promising centers, like in that age group, we'll say, $10 million is reasonable. And Thomas Harley, as is he Dallas's number 1? No, that's because of Miro Heiskanen, but he's certainly number 1 caliber in a lot of respects. Signing him for 10.5 and change is that's the cost of doing business, and that's how much these dudes cost moving forward. And I think there is to some extent, whether it's media, whether it's fans, you see these deals and you say like, oh, okay, a lot of years, a lot of money, but that's just the way it is now, and it's because the cap's raising.
And you can't look at somebody who signed 3-4 years ago.
No.
That's
apples.
Tom Harley's making more than Cale Makar. Yeah.
It's apples to bowling balls at this point, man. It's not a valid comparison.
But here is the thing, because once we knew that the cap was going up and by how much, I think all of us, at least in theory, said, okay, we know salary is going to go up. We're still seeing some sticker shock. It still takes some getting used to, but we knew they were going up. What surprises me, I really wondered, if in this environment, if we would see guys in their prime say, I'm not doing 8 years. I'm not doing 8 years because, with the cap going up year and year, like I don't want to lock in on a deal that might have sticker shock in year 1, and by year 6 or 7, I'm way down the list given where the cap is. And we're still seeing guys. NHL players love signing 8-year deals that take their entire prime. They just like, I'll do it once. And look, it's nobody's sitting there going like, oh, poor Logan, only 80 million. Gosh, he's, that $81 million yacht, he's not going to be able to get now. Obviously these guys will do fine, but just purely from maximizing your value, I don't think it makes a ton of sense, but clearly they don't agree with me.
Here's what I'll say for Cooley. Statistically, it takes him through his prime. Sure, we all know that's 27 or 27 and a half or whatever, wherever the number stands right now. Still an extremely young dude. Still potentially getting paid when he's 30, let's say. That money's going to be out there then. I for Cooley, it makes more sense to me than it does with other guys because he's going to get a significant raise on what the bridge deal would have been to take him from, 22 to 27. So I think he's making enough up front there to make it less, I don't want to say egregious, but less annoying to see like someone lock it in that long. Like I think there's a little bit less risk aversion for Logan Cooley than there is for other guys on this.
If by year 7 and 8, I'm a huge bargain at 10 million, I will cash in.
Correct.
In year 9. And yeah, you're right. This isn't a guy, he didn't sign until he's 33 or something where
and that matters. We know those few years matters. When especially now when it comes to front offices getting a little bit smarter, a little bit less apt to give big contracts to 33-year-old players than they were in the past. And he's saying essentially like might not be a $10 million player for the next 3 seasons. Might be more than a $10 million player for the back couple years of it, but we'll make it up on the back end. So I agree with you overall, man. I think there is risk aversion, and it's of a type with a lot of deals that we've seen in the past, even though the number's bigger. But I think that he makes enough up front for me to put it off to the side a bit.
Okay. That's fair enough.
I don't know about Harley. Harley feels like a guy. That's the flip side of the coin. You think Thomas Harley?
I mean, a defenseman though, so they
age a little bit.
Aging curve shifts out a year or two, and
whatever. Man, like if someone said you can have $80 million right now, do I worry about whether that stops me from making $95 million total? Or whatever over 10 years.
Yeah, but then the flip side is, I mean, you'd say yes to 60 million then. So I mean, why not take that? Why not? How far down do you go, knowing that you're freeing up cap room and all of this stuff, right? Like at some point, I've often said, like, I don't think with a lot of these players, it's the actual dollars that's going to bother them, because again, a lot of hockey players are just kind of. And I don't mean this derivatively necessarily, but they're just simple guys. I want a cottage, I want a boat, I want a nice car. That's it. And it's not.
I want a TV from Walmart that I can return in 88 days,
which doesn't factor into the expenses. So as we learned, they're not sitting there going, "I need a mansion and a private plane." So it doesn't really matter. But I think it's. Put yourself in the scenario where there was in whatever job you do, there was a number that was associated to everyone that roughly was meant to indicate how good you are at your job. And that was public, and public in a way that you had to hear about it all the time. You telling me that, you might feel like I make enough money, but if you're walking by, on the way to the photocopier and you're walking by that guy at his cubicle and he's got a 9 on his desk and you've got an 8 on yours, and you're sitting there going, I do more than that guy. do I really want to hear about this? And everybody who comes by your cube goes, hey, your number is a little low. Have you ever heard that? Has anyone ever mentioned that to you? And you're like, yeah, actually, I hear it everywhere I go. Thanks a lot. I think it's a pride thing for some of these guys as much as anything. And I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Some guys will handle it and some guys don't. There have certainly been guys where I've gotten the impression that, man, if this guy has to hear about what a quote unquote great contract he has one more time, he looks like he might pop a vein. But
you can specify McKinnon. You can say it was him.
Kind of was him a little bit. And rightly so. The guy was making $6 million, and everyone's like, "That's crazy, man! Isn't that wild that you should be making twice as much?" No, thank you for reminding. You're only the fourth person today to bring that up. That's awesome.
It was a couple years ago in Vegas when they did that media tour event, and I ended up, Pierre was sick or something, so I had to go. It was when McKinnon signed his new deal, and the look on his face when he realized that he didn't have to answer who is the most underpaid star in the league anymore. And when he realized that the answer to the question was Cale Makar, like he could pass that baton onto his teammate. I've certainly never seen Nathan McKinnon that happy. I'm not sure I've ever seen another hockey player that happy.
He went out that night in Vegas and really cut loose. He ate one spoonful of white rice.
A round of tomatoes for everybody. Let's go.
I learned something this week that I shouldn't have to learn because it happens to me every year, but I learned that I've got to stop pre-writing my annual scariest starts. I just need to write it the morning it goes live. Just if it's going live at 7 a.m., I just got to set the alarm, get up early, and just do it that morning. Because I always try to get a little bit done in advance, try to outline, at least organize my thoughts. And I can't because then inevitably, whoever I mention goes absolutely nuts in the 2 games or 2 nights or whatever it is. And makes me look bad. And I got to go back and take down my whole, Svechnikov hasn't scored all year thing.
You hear that, Svechnikov?
Yep, he heard.
Macklin
Evan Boucher
pissed.
heard. And the guy I'm scared of, because by the way, this is my roundabout way of plugging the piece that drops Thursday.
Oh, sure.
There's only 1 game tonight.
Mm-hmm.
How bad can it be? All I'm going to say is I think Auston Matthews gets a hat trick tonight. Let's just
5 goals. 5 goals for Auston Matthews.
5 is doable. 3 on a goalie and 2 more into an empty net. Let's say that.
How many people are on this team?
21. I go 20-man roster, but I got to have an extra goalie because half the teams in the
league.
league.
Do the full roster.
Yeah.
You fool. You're tempting fate on that one. You got to pick the 10 guys you think might actually stink and just fully focus on that.
And well, I mean, it's whether it's 10 or 20 or 1, that guy is going to go bananas. And I'm then going to have fans who don't have object permanence and therefore don't know how time works going like, this guy's got 10 goals now. I know I wrote it a month ago. Oh, he's up to 12 now. No, yeah. I'm aware. It's just. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I said that in October. Anything else?
Yeah, anything else? In December he hits. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to stop you right there.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to stop you right there, and I'm going to have you look at this calendar and tell me which month comes first.
That's a level of contempt for fans that you almost only see from ESPN.
Yeah,
interesting.
Exactly. Yeah, readers, my readers specifically, ruining my life. You're awful.
These are my readers, says Sean McIndoe.
I think somebody else has already used that one, but all right.
His name escapes me. Thank you, buddy, and thank you to Frankie. Like we said, he's in the return line at a Walmart somewhere. Thank you, folks. No contempt here. We love you, listeners. We love you, viewers, for watching the show and listening to the show. 3 of us are back next Wednesday. Haley and I have the next show overall, which is tomorrow. We're going to be talking to Shayna Goldman, who had a really interesting piece come out about team building and how good teams get good. We're going to talk to her about that. Plenty of other stuff. That's a Thursday show. This has been the Wednesday show. Signing off.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and ring the bell to stay informed on the latest in the world of hockey. and join our Discord community, and stay tuned here for new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.